And greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, or living life, or loving life. Want to remind everybody, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. There's a PayPal link down below for anybody who wants to share some love. And of course, the panel link is down there for anybody that wants to join the stream. We're going to go over this Bureau of Vital Statistics chart again that we've reviewed in a few different situations, but we've never actually gone over the various different agencies and everything it connects to. So tonight we're going to go through some of those ABC agencies, as they call them. We've got John with us here again tonight. How you doing tonight, John?
Hey, how you doing, Keith?
Good. Been a while.
I'm just enjoying summer and just enjoying the internet for what it's good for, which is, I guess I'm not going to badmouth it anymore. If we use it intelligently, it's a great tool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the world's greatest library in the history as we know it. So it's a place where we can reach out for information without even having to get up and go down to the library itself. And even when we go to that library in days past before the internet, it was limited to that library. Today we have the libraries of every nation, every city around the world available at our fingertips, literally. So it is a great tool. And so let's get into this, John. You remember that chart, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So let's take a look at it. Let me blow this up a little bit more so people have. Do one more. We can just scoot it over as we need. Because right now we're dealing with the initial part down here, prenatal OB. That's the prenatal obstetrician that mom goes to determine that she is pregnant or that she is going to bear young. When she goes into labor, guess what? She goes into the hospital. Now she's in labor. This is a workforce, folks. This is a military workforce. So she goes in. She's already got a medical record on herself. Now this prenatal record is going to attach to her medical record, okay, as a event in her life. So there's a medical record at the local hospital that's going to be developed under mom's name on the first day of illness, the first day of that spell of illness where she goes in bearing labor pains, and they're going to put it down as a spell of illness for inpatient hospital treatment. In the hospital, they then assign her a pediatrician and an obstetrician in the hospital that works with the prenatal OB. Now you'll notice this, and this are all extended to mom's record. And then mom's record goes to the birth clerk. From there, the birth clerk has a birth log, and he or she's going to contact the mother with a certain document for her to sign. That document is then going to be entered into the electronic health records system. That's what E.H.R.-S means, electronic health records system. Now, the electronic health records system is that thing that we were talking about with the library there, John. It's automatic, immediate. You have immediate access right away. You don't have to worry about travel concerns. You don't have to worry about post as far as mail and this and that anymore. It's instant. From there, that birth clerk is tied to the state in which you're born, the state up here, and it's through the state health department. Notice the square. And then internally, within the state health department, is the Vital Records Office. Now, they deal with the local registrar and the local hospital as it relates to that birth certificate and monetization. Okay? Notice there's no monetization here. This is the safe harbor. Now, there are safe harbor exceptions, which we've spoken about before here recently as it relates to the anti-kickback laws, stating that normally you wouldn't be able to accept kickbacks for state activity in certain situations. However, since they're fulfilling a duty, they have to be paid. So there's an exception to the anti-kickbacks, which allows them to monetize. Okay? Now we've got the EBRS, that's the Electronic Birth Record System, and the VRS, which is the Vital Records System. So there's two systems working conjointly together there. Vital Records System is the thing that's in error because it's not matching up with the Electronic Birth Records System, correlating the outside association. In other words, the third-party association. These people are all working in labor, a labor force, a labor union. But mom is external, and now they've been included it because of a vital record system that has a vital event recorded. Okay? The NBS, which is within the state health department and an extension of the Vital Records Office through the Electronic Birth Record System, has an NBS, National Birth System. So it goes to the National Birth System. Guess what? It remains in the state, doesn't it? Because the state is its own nation country. So the state has its own vital record system wherein it keeps track of births. And that is the national birth system for that state. And as we've discussed before, there is no birth registration in the United States. That's the false nationality. Then we see this blue one that says IIS. That is the, let's see here, what is that? I looked it up. Immunization Information Systems. Immunization Information System. So your immunizations, these things with this CV-19 and everything, all these are coming from the state health department. And again, it's their system. It's a state record system. Down here you see this arrow, it says, it goes over to Steve and Sam's. Steve and Sam's. Now, Steve is the state and territorial exchange of vital events. State and territorial exchange of vital events. This goes to the 18 U.S.C. 7 Special Maritime Territorial Jurisdiction of the United States as it relates to the national birth system. Okay? And then SAMS is the Systems Acquisition Management System. So when they exchange those vital statistics, that's a Systems Acquisition Management System. So they've acquisitioned the data elements of the vital events. Okay? That's what Steve and Sam's does. Then we look over here and it says, again, it's going to, from the state health department to state Medicaid. Notice that's not Medicare. It's Medicaid. Nationally, everybody is already automatically eligible for Medicare on the national level. State Medicaid is for state employees under Part B, or excuse me, Part A. Part B is everybody's automatically eligible. Part B is for state workers, for like people like my companion that get into official employment, such as working for the public education system. Okay, then we have Steve. Again, this is Steve over here. This Steve, state and territorial exchange of vital events, and it's interjurisdictional exchange of the Vital Records Office, State 2. So there's a duality of statism. Vital Records Office is, again, it's only, these records are only supposed to be kept for their employees. Then you see the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. We discussed that the other day when we went over the Iowa Administrative Code for valid driver's license and the judicial removal or withdrawal from the program, and the fact that the certification is false. And then it goes to voter registration. Now, why does it go to voter registration after the DMV? Because the DMV for Department of Motor Vehicles, again, even though you may not have a driver's license, you still get your identification from the Department of Motor Vehicles. You still go to the DMV in the state to get your Iowa ID or your California ID. You go to the Department of Motor Vehicles for both the driver's license or the ID. Well, that's again stating that you're on state business. On state business now, because you've claimed identification claiming resident. Now that the resident determination has been made, now you can go and vote to or register to vote. Does that make sense, John? Have I got you still along with me there?
Oh yeah, I mean, residency is a key tenet of their side of their ledger. You know, they need to get that.
Yeah, they have to have they have to have some kind of minimum state contact. And the more they can do those minimum state contacts, those little applications that you don't think really mean anything, just because I registered my child for school doesn't mean I have a minimum state contact. Yeah, you do. You register with a state institution. Same with the hospital. You registered with a state institution. So all of those little things are the minimum state contacts that they're calling implied contracts, because you're considered a body within the labor force rather than externally as a third-party beneficiary. And so now you have to give equal consideration for those equal benefits. It's going to cost you. That's what contracts do.
And then,
so let's go.
And they use people of your own peers too to get into that system. Did you ever notice that?
Yes.
Yeah, voter reg in high school. Who got you in? One of your classmates.
Yep. Your neighbors, everybody's convincing everybody else you need to go register to vote, and they don't even understand. No, you're supposed to be on state business to vote. And if you don't have an oath of office, then you don't have a right to vote. See, you're supposed to be eligible for election. And just the presumption that you were born on this land is not a good enough presumption to say that you're eligible for election, because there are other qualifications that go along with that, particularly according to the Constitution that says you have to be a resident of the state for a certain amount of time. Better understand that definition of resident. So now we're at the national level. And at the national level, we have the NAFSIS and EVVE, federal and state government. It's got this slash mark here. It's not an approximation, but what it means, it's around 20 users. Down here it says many. There's over 500. On the federal level, there's over 500 academic institutions, researchers, healthcare organizations, etc., that may use the information, as we saw in the use of the matrix and use status. And that's what we're talking about here, John, is the use status. The use status is the use status that of a trustee as involved in the contract, or is the use status that of a beneficiary third party, not subject? So, NAPFIS. What is NAPFIS? Do you know what NAPFIS stands for?
No.
It's the National Association for Public Health, Statistics, and Information System. So again, it has nothing to do with you commercially. It has to do with the statistics so that they can coordinate their supply and demand. Again, it's a military operation. Greetings. We got JG and Rebel Studio. How you doing tonight, guys?
Hey Smith, hey Wiz, I got your mail. I appreciate you signing that stamp for my kid. You're a legend, man. Thanks for the autograph. My kid loves it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Put the word out. How you doing, Rebel? You got your mic fixed yet? We get that worked out?
I don't know for sure. I still have the original.
Nope. still cutting. But you're welcome on board. You're welcome on board always. And just for just a note, JG, thanks for reminding me. My email is down temporarily. My site is down temporarily. Hopefully it will be back up in a couple days. It's been down for about a week now. So if you've been trying to email me and it's rejecting it, please hold on and send it to me here again another couple days or so. So it's National Association for Public Health, Statistics, and Information Systems. So again, it's a system of records, and it's for national health statistics. It has nothing to do with anything else. And those statistics, again, we're talking about logistics. Statistics seems to be more general public, whereas logistics is a military term, and that's truly what we're talking about. They're logging everything into their military documentation, the record of history. So what does EVE stand for? EVE is the electronic verification of vital events. So the EVE is the electronic system that can now validate those events, those vital events, immediately. It goes throughout the system immediately. That's all it is. What is NCHS? NCHS with the V.S.C.P. That's in relation to the drawing a blank. V.S.C.P. Vital Statistics Cooperative Program. So the Vital Statistics Cooperative Program, as we see there, right here, VSCP, Vital Statistics Cooperative Program. What is a cooperation? Cooperative. That means there's got to be some kind of agreement, some kind of contract. That's why we see the money. This is the cooperative. And notice it's coming out from here and going to the state. Coming out from the Social Security, going to the state. Coming out from the national, federal, and state government, National Association of Public Health Statistics. Okay? And that's all supplying to the state. The state does not fund itself. It has to get these funds from the sale of the birth certificate, which belongs to the national, the federal government as a document, that history, a military form. And then you have the state birth files, the birth file, and that birth file for all of its statistical elements. Your genealogy, if it's listed, you know, your race, your ethnic origin, all of that. That's all going to go to the federal government's academic institutions, researchers, healthcare organizations, etc., for their statistical value for their research. This is the event that happens at the very beginning, EAB, enumeration at birth, which is the extension of a Social Security number by the SSA, which funds the state through the electronic birth record system for the vital records system for state Medicaid for all participants that are already prior eligibility for Medicaid, simply because they were born. So it's a necessity of life. Okay? Department of Motor Vehicles, enumeration of birth, electronic birth registration system, electronic health record system, electronic verification of vital events, immunization information system, newborn screening, national birth system, newborn screening. I don't know how I got that wrong. Newborn screening, that's that first day, again, inpatient hospital treatment in a spell of illness, where mom goes in and registers at the hospital, and on her first day, she receives inpatient hospital treatment, and during that first day, she gives birth, she has a child, and now there's a new first day for a new individual. Let's see if there's anything else. So, secure access management services. And so you see, they're using this stuff, like I said, as a matter of exchanging information in a cooperative agreement as a contract. And that's for them. That's fine. If they want to exchange the information, that's fine for their statistical purposes, so they can keep track. That's fine. But you keep the people out of it and don't make them subject to say, well, it's mandatory. You have to, because you don't know how to read. That's why I urge everybody to unlearn everything you've learned and get back to the concise English so you can go through this stuff and read this. This is plain writing that we've been going over in all these codes.
And this all comes from your father not declaring an offspring.
Absolutely.
That's the first crime, right?
Yep, that memorandum. See, when we have children, the father is supposed to speak up and let the world know that a legacy heir has come to the world, and he is going to raise that child up in the ways of the Lord. That's the basic memorandum. Because the birth record that we have does otherwise. It says they're going to raise you up in the false patronymical father, where there is but one Father which art in heaven. So you're going to live your life under a false patriotism. Again, all military. You're not supposed to be warring. See, the war in heaven ended. He ended the war in heaven. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. As it is in heaven. The war is ended in heaven as far as everybody else knows. So why are we not ending the war on earth? See, the true faction of this war that we have on these wars that we have on earth is because people decide that they want a war individually. They decide that they want a war individually, but they will only war collectively. And that's a problem. Collectively, they think they have the balls to go over to a foreign nation and take over and reset them up with a new government under a false patriotism. I don't think that's going to work. I really don't. I don't know. I don't care how delusional you are, but living on a false patriotism and bowing to that flag all the time, as they indoctrinated you in that public education system, which again is a military forum, you're being duped.
It's all kayfabe, man.
It's all what?
Kayfabe.
I don't understand you.
Kayfabe, like it's all work.
Well, it's all the presumption that there's a cost of living, and you have to pay for that cost of living. I don't know where that came from, and I don't care. The
Right, it's literally a video game. Life's literally a video game because of shit like that.
Yeah,
Literally
exactly.
kayfabe, literally illusion.
Yeah, see, people think, and I refer to it as a popularity contest, JG. People think that this voting thing in this popularity contest to get some guy up there to do the job for him is a good thing. When the best thing you can do for yourself in regards to that work is to do the work yourself. In everything. Why are you sending your children to school? Well, because I have to go work to make a job or to pay for the cost of living. No, you've been duped into that. The necessities of life are the necessities of life. And just because somebody says you've got to pay for them doesn't mean that you have to. You've been duped. If it's a necessity of life, then question the necessity. Is it necessary that I need a president? Not me particularly. Collectively as a whole, there tends to be this need for a president. There tends to be this need for the government. But the need for that is not for me. It's for someone else. And I can agree to that. I can admit to that. But to include me into that need, as if though it's a necessity for me to pay for the cost of living, is a violation of the necessity of life itself. And people don't understand that. To say that you have to pay to have a roof over your head, I don't know that that's so much true. Why can't I go out to the mountains and put a roof over my head myself? Do I have to pay for that other than my own labor, my own necessity to get out there and dig the holes to put the posts and all that and build it? Or is the necessity to have somebody else do it for me so that they can build it correctly for my needs as they determine? People have been duped by this. I grew up with a friend that still had dirt floors. For crying out loud, what are you going to do?
Was his last name Flintstone?
But it goes. I had another guy, friend of mine. He got tired of the city coming after him for not mowing his yard. So he stripped it, planted native prairie grasses in certain spots, created some pathways, and then filled up the rest of it with nothing but plants. There was no grass except the prairie grasses that he grew, and they grew tall, and the city couldn't do anything about it then. You could let it grow as tall as you want. It was native plants. How do you condemn native plants? How do you condemn native animals and say you don't have a right to live here because the cost of living is too high for you? You have to move out there and live with the animals. Okay, then let me. But when I go out there and I build my little hut, it doesn't say that you can come out and say, well, you didn't build the hut correctly, so we're going to tear it down, arrest you for leaving a mess and causing an environmental problem. You just destroyed all the woods around here to build yourself a house. We didn't deem it a viable house, so we had to come in and tear it down. So you destroyed the land. It's not the way it works. Not the way it's supposed to work. So anyway, it comes down to this vital. What is vital? Anybody know what vital is, and if you break it down?
I know the definition. I don't know the breakdown.
Yeah, I don't know the definition.
Okay, the breakdown. Well, let's go over the definition first. Let's pull that up. Okay, vital says, from definition from Oxford Languages, absolutely necessary or important, essential. Similar is essential, indispensable, crucial, key, necessary, needed, required, requisite, important, all important, of the utmost importance, of great consequence, of the essence, critical, life and death, imperative, mandatory, urgent, pressing, burning, compelling, acute, paramount, preeminent. Preeminent, when they talk about eminent domain. Preeminent. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. High priority, significant, consequential, earth-shattering, world-shaking. Full of energy, lively. Does that sound like living soul? That's what's vital, but they're keeping track of the data elements as if those are vital. Okay, let's look at etymology.
And things can be vitally important too.
Correct. Vital as an adjective, just like a living soul, of or manifesting life, of or belonging to life, from vita, meaning life, related to vivere, to live, momente vivere, momente, what is it? I can't remember the other part, but if one knows they must die, then they must know they must live. To live. The sense of necessary or important is from 1610s. Essential of life. So it's very modern. Very modern. Aqua vitae. Aqua vitae. Literally water of life. Arbor vitae. Tree of life. You do not get a nice, healthy tree of life unless you feed it the water of life. So let's break down vital. In Latin, vi is the ablative of vis, or force. Okay? This makes our handy prefix also mean with violence. Vi. Violence. Okay? Mom had labor pains. And it could be said that she had violent contractions that forced the baby out. Okay? What is TAL? We know what VI is, VI. Latin for tal is the ankle, the heel, the talon. An eagle has talons. Where? At the ankle, at its heel. Your feet are the semblance of talons. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Show you these just so everybody's clear. This is the vital statistics one we were reading from the definition or from etymology. All were belonging to life, from vita, life, and then Latin definitions for tal, and Latin definition or prefix for vital, VI. Just so everybody knows, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. So literally, it comes down to the force of the foot. What is an infantry? Why do you think you're born on an infant ward? Infantry. It's the tree of death. You're sent off to die. Literally. Anyway, you guys got anything on the way out? We are done. Short one tonight.
So, Keith, mom was then reduced to like a custodian, where she
Yep.
names the baby, but she just really delivers, which really means transfers data.
Right. Yeah, that's the partnership of a marriage license. That's military as well. And the partnership of a marriage license says that you went to the hospital and you had a baby, but that baby was abandoned. So now you're going to foster that child. How do you foster your own child? How do you adopt your own child? It's not the way it works. See, the system, and this is one of the things that I learned through my foster care and adoption research and everything. The whole system, the parentage, the marriage license, all that's for foundling children. The hospitals are known as foundling hospitals. The schools are schools for foundlings. Everybody's been duped.
What's the definition of foundling?
Foundling. Foundling is an historic term applied to children, usually babies, who have been abandoned by parents, then discovered and cared for by others. An infant found after its unknown parents have abandoned it. A young child who is left by its parents and then found and cared for by someone else. Left by his parents. Not by his mom and dad, but by his parents. The military side. If you guys don't understand these words, I urge you. If you're having conflict with what I'm saying here, I urge you. Unlearn what you've learned and go back to concise English. An infant or small child found abandoned. Found abandoned. A child without a known parent or guardian. That's that guardianship you were talking about. The parents are only taking on a guardianship.
Yeah, I've honestly never even heard that word. I can't forget it now.
Yeah, and that's a presumption and stated in fact in the codes, and I'll have to pull it up and do a video on it sometime. But that's what we're looking at. When you get a marriage license, that's a military form giving the state to provide all consent. You're giving up consent over your children, and now the state gives consent. You've abandoned those rights, is what it's presumed as. Most certainly. Gibson is what they use in the courts when it comes to equity. Gibson's treatise on equity. So anyway, with that, we're finished up. I want to thank everybody for your support. Please be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Numbers are slowly growing still, steadily, so keep sharing. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. Hit the PayPal link down below for anybody that wants to share some love. It's certainly appreciated. It's certainly needed at this point. In the meantime, what do you guys got on the way out? JG, you wanted to talk about something? You want to do that openly, or you want to wait till after we're done? What?
If you got a court date, right, and you have a pretrial, and then they're saying in a week you'll have the court date, and then they change it to the pretrial and the court date are on the same day, they change it. What does that mean?
Means they don't know what they're doing. It means you're still scared. It means you still want to go to that court. I'm telling you, if I think somebody doesn't have personal jurisdiction, I ain't going. They're going to have to prove in, on, and for that record that they, in fact, do have personal jurisdiction, and they can't. You show me that that person is valid in this record system, and I'll show you it's not. It's required. It's a minimum birth registration standard that is required. It must be registered in the United States. It's not registered. What are you trying to do?
Right, I figured they're trying to trap me in. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I'm going to get that birth certificate. I'm going to register it in the United States. Say, hey, these guys are making a false claim. They say they've got personal jurisdiction. I'm the one that just surrendered it to the United States. How does the state have personal jurisdiction if I got it from the state through a document and surrendered it to the United States? Are they going to make up another document, say they've got personal jurisdiction? They bet not. That's my document. You can't order that anymore. Clarifying the record. That's all we're doing. Now it'll be registered in the United States to the SEC, and they'll give me a certification that I can put with the Postal Service, validating the judicial elements of indemnification with the Postal Service. At least that's my perception. Anyway, yeah, that's the basics. Ask a judge. Judge, if someone had said they had personal jurisdiction over you and you knew they didn't, would you show up to court? I guarantee you they're going to say no. Or they're not going to answer. Because they're not going to say yes.
I got a couple more questions if I could ask you after the stream. That's cool.
We'll do then. Then please speak your mind at the last minute here. We'll shut down and we'll speak afterwards. Go ahead, John.
Okay, Keith. No, I'm good. Good show. Good chart.
Cool.
I like this. I'm glad I saw it again.
Absolutely. I appreciate everybody's support as well. It's important to go over this information as much as we can, so we get it down and are able to get it to the younger generations in a reasonably comprehensive manner that they can go forth and do their just as well. So appreciate your support, John and JG, and you guys know me. I love you, but I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back. That's to say, I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you don't respect me. That's on you.
You care.
So may God bless you and have a good night. We'll see you again next time, guys. Be blessed.